Is Hello World how everybody starts a podcast?
No.
Hello, world, and welcome to the 4-Point Shot Podcast, our new podcast made by perhaps the most insane fantasy basketball league, where we'll discuss all things NBA, give you tips to succeed, and share our crazy fantasy experience with the world. I want to go ahead and thank everyone for tuning in today, and ask you all to please like, subscribe, and support us in any way you can. We want to grow this podcast and hear from everyone in the fantasy world going forward. This is just the very first episode in which we'll say a little about our league, do a draft recap, talk sleepers, busts, and waiver watchers. My name is Patrick, owner of the Frankfurt Fireballers, and I'll be today's hosts. And now I'll pass it off to the other members to introduce themselves and jump right into it.
Hey guys, my name's Josh with the Bluegrass Bulldogs.
Hey guys, this is Chase with the Waiver Ravers, Markelle, and current reigning champion.
And this is Matt with the all-time winningest franchise, Kentucky Hazard.
All-time winningest. That sounds pretty good.
It is. Two-time regular season champ as well.
I don't think that's an actual title. I think you just gave that to yourself.
It's statistically proven.
I think you should probably go by Matt, zero-time champion.
Yeah, I think that's more fair.
My time's coming.
Not this year.
So our league is a points league, and it's 14-team, and we've been through a few different iterations of scoring systems in the past few years, but I think we settled on a good one with 1 point for points, 1.2 for rebound, 1.5 for assist, 3 steal, 3 block, and -1 turnover, which is the standard scoring system. Plus, the only thing we have added is 5 points for an ejection. What do you all think of that scoring system?
Well, it's the only one we've stuck to 2 years in a row now, so I'm in favor of it for sure. Definitely a lot better than ESPN, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty good. The only thing that I could potentially change is maybe weigh offensive rebounds a bit more than defensive rebounds, but honestly, in the end, it really doesn't matter that much if we're all on the same playing field.
That's true. And I think overall it's fairly balanced for the simplicity of it. It's not like we're taking a ton of different metrics like 3-point shot, offense, rebound, defensive, or everything else you could possibly, like free throw. I've seen some crazy scoring systems before, and I feel like keeping it simple makes it easy to just watch a game, see something, know you're getting something good.
Yeah, a lot of other scoring systems will use like missed shots or missed free throws, and that's a lot to keep up with when you're watching a game. And I like to enjoy and kind of count my stats as I'm going. It's like part of the experience of watching a game.
Yeah, I think one of the main benefits of a points league is getting just to see the points go up over time. It's kind of enjoyable just watching them rise.
Yeah, some people say that points leagues aren't as good as category leagues just because it's strictly points, and categories there's like more strategy involved. But I think points leagues, at least the way we play, is a ton of strategy, scraping the waiver wires and trying to make trades.
Right, and just picking up positions so you can fill your roster each day.
Exactly. And you can use your waiver to get, say, 2 games out of someone for the price of 1 waiver, which is also really useful.
Well, let's jump into the meat of what we want to get into today, which is our draft recap. We had our draft, what was it, 2 weeks ago about, and it was a pretty intense draft. I thought everyone drafted really well. I picked out some of what I thought were some of the fun draft picks, whether they were good or bad during each round. I wanted to try to throw them at you all and see what you say about them. In round 1, we had Giannis at the top and James Harden third.
Yeah, I was definitely really happy about that. I did want Giannis at the 3rd pick, but I knew that with everything going on in Houston, it was a little dicey for someone to take Harden number 1. So I got to pick up Harden. But now with everything going on, it's looking a little iffy. I'm sweating a little bit over here. My season's not shaping up the way I want it to right now, but fingers crossed.
The only way I could see it potentially being a bad pick is if he just refuses to play. He's been the number 1 fantasy points player for 2 years straight, and the man is almost never injured. So, I mean, grabbing him third pick, it's not really a steal given the 1-2 that came before him, but I mean, still, he'll probably be fine. Don't worry, Josh. You'll make playoffs.
I'm hopeful.
One.
For
Yeah.
once.
And no matter what team James Harden is on, he's gonna be James Harden. Whether he's number one, maybe not. If he goes somewhere like the Nets, he might not be number one, but he's gonna be, I would say, a top 5 player. And at the pick, guaranteeing yourself a top 5 is pretty solid.
Yeah, I definitely think that he'll still produce first round value, so I'm not too worried about it. But if only.
Is he getting old now? Yeah, he's 31 years old now. So I mean, not that old, but
I mean, Steph is 32. I think they're getting up there. I think they're fine for a few more seasons.
I don't know. I'd say overall, James Harden's pretty suspect just because all he wants is a trade. He keeps saying it publicly. I mean, obviously not out of his own mouth, but through his agents and all that. Everyone keeps saying he wants a trade.
John Wall says he's all in.
John Wall and him are boys. Went to the strip club.
Good point, Josh.
Hey man, you gotta build that camaraderie, man. Maybe he'll come back. He'll shoot around a little bit. He'll be like, you know what? I'll stay here. We just need a clip of them dancing on the sideline to some jumbotron music. It'll be all good.
Maybe he feels like the third wheel of the whole John Wall DeMarcus Cousins thing, and that's why he really wants out.
He's just jealous that Westbrook got to leave.
Well, we'll see how James Harden shakes out, but probably an even riskier pick in round 2. Johnny picked Kevin Durant, pick number 22.
That could be pretty good value for pick number 22. I had Westbrook last year, and even though he was sitting back-to-backs, he still put up top 10 value in the points league. So, I mean, I'm fine with that pick. And also, I mean, this kind of goes with something we might talk about a little later on, is he picked up Dinwiddie, which is kind of managing the risk of picking Durant in case something happens.
That's a smart way to do it, yeah.
Insurance pick for sure. I actually like this pick at 22. If you look at the list of players that went after him, it's Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, Rudy Gobert, Pascal Siakam. When you're getting into that kind of range, using the Yahoo fantasy scoring, I think Kevin Durant is definitely worth the risk here, because Kevin Durant, when he plays, he's a top 10 guy, at least fantasy points per game wise, but we know he's going to sit. It's just a matter of how much is he going to sit.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a risk of him sitting as much as injuring and re-injuring. When I watched him the other night, he looks skinnier, like he's lost muscle. He was getting bumped around on screens, even though he put up same old Kevin Durant numbers per minute. He was just getting bumped around more. He's always been skinny, but now he's super skinny.
Yeah, and their team's pretty deep, so I don't think the Nets will have any issue resting him a few times along the way.
So you all think Kevin Durant, good pick at 22?
I think that's just
I think it's a fine pick.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's move on to round 3 here. We have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander taken at the 36th pick of the draft in the 3rd round. Matt, what were you thinking there?
I was seeing major dollar signs with that one. He just kept getting passed up, and I was happy to get him at 36. I mean, the guys after that were immediately taken after him: Murray, Nurkic, Porzingis. I mean, Porzingis is dealing with an injury, otherwise that might have been the path I go. Nurkic coming off that injury, it just wanted to shy away from that. Shai is the man now in OKC. I was looking at that roster right before I made that pick, and I was like, oh yeah, this is the obvious choice. The only thing that concerns me, I don't really know who he has to pass it to on that team. I don't know who's going to make shots for him to get those assist numbers that I need him to get to be 36 value.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good pick. His usage is gonna be insane, being bar none the best player on that team. I don't know. Do you think there's potential for sitting a bit towards the end? Yeah. Maybe something you might look into?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was a little worried that he might become tank commander and just go in there and play 20, 25 minutes and sit as they tank. Because they're not going to do anything this year. And they've made that clear with the moves that they've made in the offseason, that they're not attempting to do anything. So I am a little concerned for that. But, I mean, he's the guy for now. So we'll ride him for the first half of the season.
Yeah, I think it's a really good pick. I just think taking the number one option for a team, especially a young guy coming up. That's just all upside right there. Right after you picked Shai, you and Chase did something interesting, and I guess it set up the whole rest of your draft, Matt. Your team is ridiculous, being composed of all Kentucky Wildcats at this point. So, who do you think won that trade between you and Chase, and what was it?
It was my first round pick, Steph Curry, my second round pick, Bradley Beal, and I think that was pick 8 and 21 for picks 13 and 16, and he drafted Booker and Adebayo for me. So, I mean, I definitely won that trade. I texted Chase and I was like stroking his ego. You know, he's a champ now and a former champ now that the new seasons began. And so I was like, you know, you're getting Steph Curry, you're getting Bradley Beal. I'm doing something stupid here, trying to draft all these Kentucky guys. So I'm riding that wave, and
I mean, so statistically speaking, Booker averaged about 40 fantasy points per game last year, and Adebayo about 40 as well. Well, you have Bradley Beal, who averages around 46 to 47, and Curry put up 50 on a given night if he's healthy. So, I mean, numbers-wise, I don't really know why you made the trade besides being, you know, brainwashed by the Kentucky Wildcats.
Well, there's another number you have to look at too. It's not just about averages. I'm high on total fantasy points across the whole season. So what I got in that deal was number 8 and number 10 last season in total fantasy points, whereas Beal was 17, and then Curry, we all know his injury history, so you know that's good for you in that trade. But yeah, I'm accumulated a lot of fantasy points with that.
I have to say, I disconnected there for about 30 seconds, so I heard none of Matt's point. Not that it was important to hear in the first place.
Okay, but yeah, I think when I look at that trade, that Matt won it, and that's because I'm not high on Bradley Beal repeating. He was the only man there last year. They didn't even have John Wall, and now they got Russell Westbrook. Who is a usage monster. I just don't see Bradley Beal putting up the same numbers.
Yeah, that was my point.
They said the same about Harden, and Harden was still number 1 in fantasy points last year as well. So I don't know. Harden did take a 1 or 2 point hit, but I don't see it being 6 or 7 to put him in a place where Adebayo and Booker were last season.
I do want to defend Chase here. I don't want to crush his ego too much. At the time of the trade, Westbrook had not been traded to that team yet, so it made a little more sense then, but I definitely win in the long run. I think even Chase would have to agree with that.
Well, we'll see. No championship. Kentucky has all-time winningest 0 championship.
It's coming.
Yeah, the pick I picked at round 4, Tyler Herro. I don't know. I thought I picked him out just because I thought it was real suspect, a little too high up at pick number 43 for Tyler Herro.
We'll give Josh a chance to, defend his brother before we start railing into him.
I'm going to be honest with you. This wasn't a smart pick. Soon after, I contacted my brother to tell him, hey, slow down with your making picks. Let me know what you're thinking about before you actually do it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he pulled the trigger on that one real quick. Him and Kelly Oubre at number 3, which was also a little suspect. But Tyler Herro, I think, is definitely going to have a good season, another good season this year. I definitely think he'll be in a starting position role. So I think I could see him being maybe a 6, maybe 7 round guy, but I don't see him being a 4th round pick by any means. I think luckily for Duncan, he was able to make a trade with Matt, who was accumulating UK players. And that's all I got to say about that.
So Matt picked up Tyler Herro in the end?
Yeah, Matt picked up Tyler Herro in the end.
Yeah, I traded him Dragic and Gary Harris for Tyler Herro.
Just those 2 for Tyler Herro?
Just those two for Tyler Herro.
Tyler Herro averaged 22.5 last season. He's not some incredible.
Yeah, but he was coming on the bench for those points.
I don't think he's going to average more than 25 FPG.
25 is what I put him at.
To be honest, yeah.
He's on the same exact team. He's doing the same exact thing.
And Harden's going to go to the Heat anyway, so.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, totally.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Probably won't happen.
And he'll come off the bench for them, and then Clifford's season will be ruined, like it always is.
Screw you guys.
We can only hope.
He'll have too
We
much
can
fun
only
on
hope.
those Miami nights.
Oh no.
Yeah, but
So-
that pick was a disaster all in all. I don't think there's much more than need to be said about it. I think anyone, Tyler Herro at 43, that's way too soon. He's a big name. He's getting a lot of accolades for his performance in the bubble, but when we're talking fantasy value, no, that's
Right.
a disaster.
Yeah,
But
you've got people like Hassan Whiteside, Aaron Gordon, DeRozan being picked up right after that.
Yeah.
There were just a ton of better options. Tyler Hero might increase, obviously, in value, but he's not going to be worth those guys
No.
or have nearly their role.
in the history of the league, though, that's nowhere near our worst fourth-round pick.
Right.
The sacred
You all know
Kevin
who
Knox
that
pick.
is.
Yep. Kevin Knox last year.
What a legend.
Yep. 1-18. That's what the team who drafted Kevin Knox fourth round last year ended up with.
How did
Which
they
is
win?
surprising, yeah.
they beat.
Was it Matt?
It wasn't me. I think it was Ben.
Oh, it could have been Ben.
That probably makes sense, yeah.
So round 5, I picked out Michael Porter Jr., another sort of like Tyler Hero, a bubble product. They got a lot of recent attention, but Michael Porter Jr., who started out last year, just kind of like, was he riding the bench last year at the beginning?
Yeah, he was still coming off an injury last year. Basically been injured the whole year before, so they were very careful with him.
Yeah, I don't know about this pick. I think it was okay. I probably would have taken
I would agree.
Michael Porter like a round later. I think he's pretty injury prone. I think it's kind of scary to invest too much in him so early. I mean, you had people like Buddy Hield going after him. Colin Sexton would have been another one that may have been a better choice. I mean, people who are going to play more games and not sit as much.
Yeah, I thought it was a fine pick. There's some upside there, but overall, it was fine for round 5. Could have gone round 6, but fine.
Yeah, I think the best pick around 5, Julius Randle, for sure. That's who I would have targeted, just because he had such a great second half last year.
I don't know. It's hard to trust a player on the Knicks. They're constantly shuffling lineups, and I don't expect them to be a team that makes playoffs this year. So he may be sitting towards the end.
To
And
say the
that
least.
comes from a guy living in New York City. So
Yeah, and apparently Knicks fans aren't really big on Randall, and I don't know about the Knicks organization as a whole, but when he was playing the other night, I was on Twitter and they were just roasting Randall. I mean, he had a good stat line by the end of the night.
I think
the Knicks are just insane.
Yeah.
Knicks fans are just furious, probably just in general right now at the state of their.
Dude, well, I have no idea why Mitchell Robinson keeps going so high in drafts, especially in points leagues. Like, dude could put up some big stats, but he's constantly getting into foul trouble. He rarely plays more than 25 minutes. I don't know. His average draft spot always just seems too high. I mean, the potential's there, but I don't see it.
Yeah, he's one of those like Markkanen who just each year you think maybe this is the year, and then he just kind of lets you down.
Yeah, that's our round 6 pick is Lauri Markanen. Where is he? He's pick number 81 in the draft. And Ben got him. I guess he knew the Chicago connection there, but he never pans out. He's always a year away from really being something great.
Right.
Feels like he almost took a step back last year too. I feel like
he did.
He was not good at all. I took him early in the draft last year, probably earlier than 6 maybe. But yeah, he did not pan out the way I wanted him to.
Yeah, last year really felt like the year that he was going to make that leap. And that Bulls team was bad, and they're adding more pieces who each year are getting better. Kobe White, Wendell Carter Jr.
Oh,
Yeah,
hey
he's
guys,
like
just to update, I took Lowry round 2 last year.
Oh,
He went.
Yeah,
holy shit.
That was
Damn.
a reach.
No wonder.
Yeah.
No wonder you don't make playoffs.
that's right. Good lord.
That's like Kevin Knox round 4.
I really thought he was going to be something special. I think I was really invested. I was afraid I was going to lose him because I was like at the very end of that pick.
You thought he was Kristaps and you ended up
I guess
Shreddy.
I guess technically he was my 3rd pick because of the keeper system we still had going on. So he was my 3rd actual pick.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess I just didn't want to wait that long snake back to get him. So I
Yeah, I
reached.
mean, last year he probably wouldn't have been there for your next pick. So I get why you did what you did. It didn't work.
It was just bad.
Yeah, it was just bad in hindsight.
So moving on to the next round, round 7, and I'm kicking myself for not picking him because I had the opportunities. Markelle Fultz. I wish I had gotten him. I think, especially I guess seeing him now in the preseason, he's going to be probably round 5 value.
Yeah, I was very happy getting him 97th pick. To be a top 100 player in a fantasy points league when you play every game, not including injuries, you probably only need to average like 26, 27 fantasy points per game. He did that last year, and I could easily see him doing 30 fantasy points a game. He doesn't have DJ Augustine there anymore. I mean, I got Fournier right after to get a little bit of insurance on Fultz, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him play this season. I think he's going to put up some good numbers.
He's starting to become what people thought he would be, and good for him. The whole debacle in Philly was really a letdown.
Yeah, his stats are on the rise slowly but surely. Although, last year he had his field goal percent go up and his 3-point percent go down. So free throw percent went way up.
If he's going to play 30 minutes a game, like he's going to be getting 30 FPG per game, and then that's a bargain at 97.
I may have undervalued him a little bit on my board just because of all the past history with him. But looking at his stats from last year, he played 72 games, 26.2 per game. And that was 94th in the league. So like you said, top 100, and that was only at 27 minutes a game. So if you see that tick up to like the 31,
and DJ Augustine isn't there.
And DJ Augustine's not there. If you see that tick up to 31, 32, and the Magic have a reason to play for playoffs, like they're not tanking, they're not doing anything like that. He could be a very good pick.
We'll be right back in a moment. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Let's call you Ben. Are you tired of your fantasy league mocking how terrible you are? Did you find yourself picking Kevin Knox in the 4th round last year? Did they frequently say things like, every league needs a Ben? Well, we here at Fantasy Fill-In have just a solution for you. At the low rate of $100 per week, we will pretend to be you in your league and improve your performance instantly. You'll leave your friends speechless as you go from worst to first. And with our current deal, we will even give you half of your league's financial prize at the end and only take the other half. Lucky you. Sign up now.
Fantasy Fill-In is run by non-fantasy experts and is therefore not responsible if we perform badly. All money is non-refundable. If you require assistance after we perform even worse than before and the league jokes become even harsher, don't ask us. Good luck, Ben.
That rounds out the top 100 pretty much. After that, it gets dicey. I think I try to stay away from rookies pretty much the whole time, and that's just been my theme always, stay away from rookies. I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest.
Yeah, you know whose theme that isn't? That's Sanders. He loves to take chances. He got James Wiseman in the 9th pick, which does not look good now. Tyrese Halliburton, he went Kevin Porter Jr. He's not a rookie, but he's also like a little bit of a stretch.
One rookie I like is Killian Hayes. I thought Adam made a good pick with that, given that he is the starting point guard. He's going to have tons of usage, and they're going to want him to develop in Detroit. Like I think that'll be a good pick.
Oh, is he officially the starter?
When did he get him? Dude, it was the let's see here, the 122nd pick. I don't know. I think that's fine. I think he'll easily get 25 fantasy points a game, which will be fine enough to keep.
Yeah, 25 per game is probably a realistic number for him.
And I was real happy with DeMarcus Cousins in the 11th, especially the way I've seen him play and run the floor now.
Yeah, he looks.
Has Wood even played yet?
Yeah, he's played a couple of games.
I don't even think Wood's played yet.
Oh, Wood?
No, Wood hasn't played. Nope. That's
I mean, I think people's usage. I just think in fantasy points leagues, the usage percentage just matters so much, and I don't see his usage being very high. But then again, you got him so late that he could have value.
I can see Hamidou Diallo having pretty high usage at the Thunder only because they don't have anyone else.
Yeah, he looks good right now too.
He's got that Kentucky connection too.
Yeah, they built different.
Is that your team motto?
No, that's Coach Cal's motto. That's what he said.
That should be your team.
Hashtag built different. Hashtag La Familia.
Are we gonna go into our sleepers?
Yeah, I guess let's jump into the sleeper picks.
Well, I already actually said my sleeper, Killian Hayes. I thought pick 122. I thought it was a solid pick, and I don't want to pick anybody from my team, but if I think I got Nerlens pretty late as well, and I think he could have a good season.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that, but with a different player by the name of Tristan Thompson.
You have high
I'm
hopes.
I'm hoping he's gonna have some high usage, lots of rebounding, and I hope he just stuffs the stat line.
Isn't the dude hurt right now?
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah,
a
good
little
luck with
bit.
that. Good luck with that, Josh.
Who?
Tristan Thompson.
Thompson.
Oh yeah, no.
I didn't even realize he was on the Celtics till earlier today when you
that's
mentioned it.
that's your best pick. That's your best pick.
That's my sleeper, dude. That's my sleeper.
I like how you picked one for your team. You're really confident
Oh,
in your pick.
Look, hey,
Yeah,
the Celtics shut out cash for him.
Hey.
All right, they haven't been super happy with Tice's rim protecting abilities. So
And Thompson's going to be the solution for that?
He could be. They brought him in for some reason. I don't think Bradley Stevens is an idiot. So
No, he's not. But you, on the other hand. Well, I'll tell you what I really liked here was in the 9th round, Johnny picking Spencer Dinwiddie. One pick before I was going to get him. Because that guy could start alongside Kyrie. And when Kyrie effectively goes down, Spencer Dinwiddie is going to replace that role. He's going to be assisting to Kevin Durant, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert. He's going to have plenty of opportunities to continue what he was already doing last year.
I think you're right. He's got assists all day on that team. Anyone he passes to can knock down the shot.
I think Johnny's team, the one true champion of the league, is pretty good so far. And definitely getting the insurance policy on Durant and Dinwiddie is a good pick.
But did you have a sleeper pick? Was that Dinwiddie?
Yeah. So I looked at it more of like a steal of the draft, I guess. I was looking at it a little bit wrong. So he would be my steal of the draft. I also really like your Josh Richardson pick at number 7. He's going to be really good, especially with Porzingis being out, which I don't know if Nick knew when he picked Porzingis in the 3rd round, or if he was playing for like a late season run. I don't know what that pick was.
Nick had some weird picks. He had some good picks and he had some weird picks.
Yeah, he had some really good ones and some suspect.
Yeah.
I have as my sleeper, and I hope I don't butcher his name, Rui Hachimura.
Yeah, I think it's Rui.
Rui Hachimura.
Yeah, Rui.
Dude, he's good. I like him.
He's coming into his 2nd season, so he's about to get the sophomore jump. And he had pretty good stats last year, plus 83% free throw percentage. I mean, anyone who shoots like that can just shoot flat out. And he can kind of do a little of everything. So I can see him taking just a big leap in his game. He could be someone who we know as a star in the future.
I was thinking that same thing, but Westbrook being on that team scares me now for him.
And also my boy Thomas Bryant is going to be picking up some numbers.
Same with
the
Beal.
Wizards are like oddly deep in some ways. They have like a lot of potential fantasy performers. I don't know if the team in reality is the best team, but
it's like one of those things. It's like, which one do you take the chance on, though?
I mean, you also got Troy Brown Jr., who they're still trying to develop, and he may be able to step up as well.
Yep.
Yeah, you got him 98, pick 90. You got him right after Fultz. Yeah, I think that was a decent pick.
Duncan, the one who drafted Tyler Herro 4th, definitely saved himself a little bit later in the draft as he made the wise choices.
He's going to have a tough time, though, with Kemba Walker as well, sitting out for probably a month and a half. Like, he's going to have a tough time getting wins early on.
I actually told him to take Kemba at that pick because of his Tyler Herro pick.
Yeah, just play for the second half.
Yeah, to try and play, making safer picks, and especially with that injury, it won't be so great starting out, but once he comes back, it'll help boost his team up a little bit.
Yeah, and that was pick 70 for Kemba, so I mean, sure, it's an injured Kemba, but
that's probably fine.
Yeah,
it's not bad actually.
Who do you have as your bust, Chase?
So my bust, and I don't know if I could. It's not really a bust. It's a bust relative to where I think he was picked, relative to where he will perform. I have Jamal Murray at 37. He's picked 37 round 3. I just thought it was too early. His fantasy points per game last year was 32.5. You have Jamal Murray getting picked by people like Sabonis, Shea, and Nurkic, Zach LaVine, Drew Holiday. after Jamal Murray, who all average around 40 fantasy points per game, and Jamal's averaged about 32.5, and he tends to sit out a few games per year on a little bit of nagging injuries. I know he was a standout in the bubble, but I just don't see him putting up 40 fantasy points per game when he's got Jokic and other stars on that team, and the rise of Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, Jamal kind of suffers from that, like the name you hear a lot. It's similar, like with what was going on with the Tyler Herro pick. You hear this name a lot, you hear all this, but when you actually look down at the fantasy stats, he's not getting you that much. He scores in bunches, but assists and rebounds, he's pretty mediocre for a point guard. He's not really a big rebounder. He's not the best passer, or at least best at getting assists. Like Jokic actually fills that role a lot more on that team. So
yeah, and he's not like Donovan Mitchell either, who runs the point a bit more, I would say, and definitely gets more assists to his stat line as well.
Yeah, he's really more of like a shooting guard.
Yeah, he doesn't have the defensive stats either. I mean, how often do you see Jamal Murray jump up there for a block?
Right.
I think that's probably a good call, Chase. I don't see him getting above 35 on the year at all. Oof. Who got him?
Joel.
Joel. Oh, no.
But Joel had him last year, too, so he might have just, wanted to keep some of his old players.
Yeah, Joel picked a lot
developing
of people.
talent.
Yeah, developing talent.
LaMelo Ball.
That's a real talent to develop.
Well, speaking of LaMelo, that kind of segues into my bust. I'm actually like really high on Melo, so I'm not going to bash Joel for his pick. I think Melo is going to be good. Maybe not. What did he pick him at? 6 or 7 or something like that?
It was 8.
Oh, 8. Okay. But I definitely think that whoever got Terry Rozier or Devontae Graham, I think one of those players is going to suffer from LaMelo Ball being on the team. I could see LaMelo Ball getting a lot of usage this year, and I think that one of those guys is going to take the hit, and whichever it ends up being, I think that that's going to be their bust, because both of those guys went pretty high. I know Terry Rozier was taken before Graham, but Graham just came off of a great season.
You clearly didn't think that 2 weeks ago when you drafted Terry Rozier ninth in the 9th round.
Well, yeah, and then I see LaMelo in the preseason, and he
it's
really
preseason. Good. But I don't see Terry giving up the ball, but I do see Devontae, because I've watched a little bit, just playing off the ball more compared to last year where he was actually handling it. But Terry, he's gonna do his thing no matter what team he's on.
Yeah, I actually listed my bust as Devontae Graham for this one. I was kind of torn between Terry Rozier and Devontae, but Terry Rozier went in the 9th round, which I think is fair. He's still going to get a lot of usage. But Devontae went in the 7th round when there were people out there like Kevin Love, Montrezl Harrell, Bogdan, Dennis Schroeder. Like, he did well last season on a team that was not trying, where he was kind of the guy for a long period, and that's just not going to be the case this year.
So, for my bust pick, I picked out Drew Holiday, who was picked 41st in the draft in the 3rd round. I think for Drew Holiday, he's just going to slide into the Bucks system, which means passing the ball around and not having the same usage he used to.
Yeah, Patrick, you did your usual thing where you picked what I wanted to pick right before you took Levine from me. But I don't know. To defend this pick, I'm not sure whether he'll match his stats on New Orleans. I know I picked him 2 seasons ago, and he was like a top 10 player, absolutely insane. And then Lonzo came over, and Ingram came over, and his usage went down a bit last season. But I don't see his usage changing too much from the Pelicans. I know Giannis and Middleton do a lot of the scoring, but I just don't see it that much of a change from the Pelicans. And he's always produced, and he was taken 2nd round last year. I could see him getting between 37 to 40 fantasy points per game.
Yeah, I really like that pick, actually. At 41, Drew Holiday, like, you had him 2 years ago. I had him last year. He plays every game. He plays hard. If you ask a lot of the guys in the league, like, I've seen different interviews, and they all say Drew Holiday is one of the best defenders in the league. So he's going to go out there.
Oh, yeah, he's a defensive monster.
Yeah, he's going to go out there, and he's going to get you steals. He's going to get a few blocks, even for a point guard.
But his offense really comes and goes. And I mean, like,
True.
Week to week, month to month. He'll have a month where he averages like 25 to 30, and then he'll have a month of 40 plus.
Right.
And I
It's
can't
kinda-
stand it
it's-
when I have a player like that on my team.
It's interesting that you say that because last season you had him and he did perform like that. And the season before I had him where he was just a monster every single week. So just my personal experience with him was he was always great, and your personal experience was, kind of wishy-washy, week on, week off.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how he adjusts to the Bucks.
I think that covers all of our sleeper bust picks. We got to pin those up on the wall and check out how we did at the end of the year. Are you all watching anyone on the waiver wire right now, especially with the preseason games going on?
House Jr. on the Rockets. If Harden leaves, that man's gonna feast. So I'm watching
Who?
him.
Daniel House.
Daniel, I don't know. I'm gonna butcher Daniel House Jr.
Daniel House.
Daniel House.
Why'd you say House?
Yeah, man. Because I couldn't pronounce his first name correctly, probably.
House Jr.
Daniel.
Daniel?
House Jr.
There's nothing hard about his name.
Nothing hard.
Dude, DHJ.
DHJ.
DHJ is gonna feast.
DHJ.
Harden.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is
So-
obviously
Yeah,
gonna
but that's the guy I'm watching.
This is obviously going to vary league to league, just depending on who people draft and who they were high on. But I'm looking at the app right now. Actually, my pick just got picked up about an hour ago by Sanders. Denny, I'm going to butcher this name. Denny Avdija, the rookie for the
Dude,
Wizards.
he had one good preseason game. Why is everybody so hyped? That
That's
Wizards
Sanders
team
for
is
you.
deep
It's
fantasy
that
wise.
is Sanders for you, but it is just one. Like I was saying earlier, the Wizards are a team you don't know what you're gonna get, who's gonna really show up. You know Westbrook and Beal are gonna show up, but who's gonna be that third guy? I mean, you're betting on Thomas Bryant, but maybe
It's Thomas Bryant.
I mean, you even got Rui there too. So
yeah.
Have you-
Rui.
Whoa, crowd.
Have you seen Thomas Bryant in the bubble? Thomas Bryant was a monster in the bubble when he came back and healthy. And he only has Robin Lopez behind him right now. Like, dude's
Oh my
gonna
god.
get all those
Yeah,
7
he's going
minutes.
to eat up usage. He's going to play the whole game.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of my riskier picks. I picked him 5th round, but I think he's going to... Last season, he was supposed to, break out a bit, but he didn't. But he was taken 5th round last season, too. I think it's
Oh wow.
I think it's a good shot that he puts up some good, decent value.
You know what the definition of insanity is?
We always take our own players back.
We
It's sort of
do.
like it's sunk cost. Like I've invested years into you, and I need you to finally perform for me.
Aaron Gordon.
Aaron
What did you
Gordon.
take him 4th round, or what did you take him?
Yeah, I
He's
think
been
I
a
got him
monster in
4th.
preseason. Yeah, I
He's-
mean, you probably could have
I've
waited
been
around,
developing
dude.
that talent since 4 years. I think someone got picked up off the waiver recently. Taylor Horton Tucker. He put up
Johnny picked him up.
33 for the Lakers the other night. 33
Yeah,
actual
Kuzma was getting
points.
roasted on Twitter. It was savage.
For what?
Well, he was just getting roasted because this guy came in and was doing everything that Kuzma's supposed to be.
Oof.
You know, Lakers fans, they hate Kuzma.
So Johnny dropped Troy Brown Jr. for Taylor Horton Tucker, and he fell prey to the classic. All our stars are sitting on the bench during this preseason game. One guy feast who will be at the bottom of the bench behind LeBron, AD, Herro, Schroeder, Caruso, you name it.
That's all.
Just avoid falling prey to that is what I'd say.
Yeah, dude. I'd say take Taylor Horton Tucker if you're in like a 25 league team, a 25 team league. And then it's time to make a reach at a
deep
big
dig.
risk and take Taylor Horton Tucker.
Maybe if LeBron goes down and then Kentavious Caldwell-Pope soon after, maybe you take Taylor Horton Tucker to like fill out the bottom of your bench, but happen.
That's a big thing with waivers is watching injuries. And when our league is like all watching the news and watching injuries, it's so hard to pick someone because everyone else is doing it.
Everyone's looking. Yep. I guess I'll bring up my waiver here. Kind of going off of another rookie scenario. I really like watching Isaac Okoro in the preseason. He's been really good, and I know it's like one of those things where he's just getting minutes. He's just getting burned because he's a rookie. But it's Cleveland, and they're kind of crappy, and I don't see them having a great season. I know they have Andre Drummond now, but he's not going to take them anywhere. I don't see them making the playoffs. So I could really see them trying to develop Isaac Okoro to fit in with Colin Sexton. I could really see him becoming, somebody who gets a decent amount of points week to week if he starts to get some play time. So I'm definitely watching him to see what he can do.
Yeah, I saw his, I don't know if it was their first game, but Saturday's Pacers-Cavs game, he had 18 points. I was like, oh, that's respectable. And then I hear about it. He had 16 in the fourth quarter. I'm like, fourth quarter in a preseason game is really just madness. Like, it doesn't translate to real NBA at all. So
yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
about
definitely. I specifically watched him yesterday when they played the Pacers. And he scored 15, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and he just looked pretty solid. It's one of those things where it's just kind of something to watch. Definitely not something I'm going to be picking up before the season starts or even a couple weeks in. But if he starts to get real minutes and he's showing improvement, I definitely think it's something that people should take notice to.
In a league with more teams, like we have 14, a league with that many teams, your bottom 2 or 3 guys is going to be kind of your interchangeable waiver guys anyway. I think he's definitely a good pick to take a chance on. Outside of Andre Drummond, Cleveland it's kind of like spinning a roulette wheel and hope you land on the guy that's kind of the second guy on that team. I mean, maybe you think Colin Sexton is a safe choice at that number 2, but what about number 3? I mean, someone's got to do something on that team, and Okoro, you might as well take a chance on him.
Yeah, I think he will
Larry
be
Nance.
pretty decent. Larry Nance.
Larry Nance, yeah.
That's true.
That's true. I forgot about Larry Nance.
I don't know.
Yeah, I saw him.
I don't know what's
I saw
with
him hit
him.
a 3.
You saw him hit the
Dude always
was
seems like
impressed.
he's on the verge of a breakout season, and it just doesn't happen.
He's one of
Hey,
those.
he got 3 points last night.
He
That was the 3 I saw.
his jaw and had to leave early.
He's one of those guys that sits on the bottom of your roster, and you're like, I really want to drop you, but you're just not quite low enough.
Dude, I got a lot of those right now. I got Nance Jr., Noel, Boucher. I got a lot of those right now. Dylan Brooks. Damn.
Oof.
Anyway.
What do you all think of this Survivor game coming up next week?
I'm interested to hear what the challenge is going to be. I've been trying to get information from Johnny about it, but
Oh, it's coming. We're keeping things under wraps. So for people who don't know, the Survivor game is our outside of fantasy game that connects the 2 divisions of the league. I don't know, Matt, how would you explain it? You're the Survivor fan.
Yeah, so we're a little ridiculous, and what we do is we try to find a fun side game to play amongst the league, just to kind of keep us entertained and active in the group. We're a pretty close group of friends. So we've got the 2 divisions, right? 7 teams in each one. You would have your conferences or your regular divisions, and we're each a tribe. And each week, Johnny, one of our players, is preparing a challenge. So let's say the tribe who gains the most total points this week is safe from tribal, and then the other tribe will go and vote someone off. There's no fantasy implications. It's just a fun game to play on the side with a financial reward at the end.
Yeah, I guess we can probably go into it in more detail next week. It's just a really cool idea to keep people engaged, especially in a long season.
yeah, definitely. People whose teams kind of suck end up tapering off, it feels like, midway through the season, especially if they know they're, done.
That's something we can talk about on another podcast, is how to keep the league engaged, how to keep the people who aren't playing well still trying to win each week, because it can mess with your results if people are just kind of giving up.
Unless you're Nick, who has your whole team injured, all your first picks, and then still somehow comes back to make the playoffs.
Well, a big thing is that we found worked for us is have a theme go into the year, so you have something, continuity week to week.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year, our Heroes versus Villains was very successful, maybe too successful, because now we've taken it all to heart.
That's true.
I think it's only better. I think that it just makes everybody more excited, everybody more active, wanting to participate.
Yeah.
And it just makes the whole fantasy experience so much deeper and more exciting.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we'll get into all that going forward, but thank you to everyone who listened today. I do want to make a special shout out to Reddit user Lego My Ego. He posted something on Reddit that was really similar to our podcast idea. I even thought it was you guys explaining our idea, but I guess great minds think alike. We should collab on something, Lego My Ego. Reach out and shout out to everyone in the Lou Area Fantasy, please like, subscribe, comment, email, Reddit, everything.
Yep, 4pointshotpodcast@gmail.com.
That's it.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
What are you guys talking about?
Talking about you and how.
Wait, I think it's been going fine. I'm stiff? You think I'm stiff? You think I'm stiff, bro?